Hey Stephanie, how you doing? Thank you so much for kicking things off here. This is definitely not the easiest thing to do, so I appreciate it. Kudos to you for that. Okay, I was looking at your reading, and I think this is really interesting. You decided on the car, and then you gathered information, thought it would be fun to find the font that was originally used. I love that. That's fantastic. I mean, that is what separates outstanding designers from designers. That just that little bit of extra engagement goes a long way. I love it, Stephanie. Great job. Then you found that you had some issues with the original font, so you went and found a reasonable um, uh, substitute, so to speak, or something that is a predecessor of the that original microgramma. So I love it. Really great job. Okay, let's jump right over to the piece. Okay, so the first thing I notice is this. It's the way the file is set up. So let me just do this. I'm just gonna zoom out here a little bit, and we can see that these aren't placed evenly. See how that's a little bit above. That's what I look at usually when I'm making a matrix like a matrix. I kind of look at the negative space just to make sure things are even. And we can see that these aren't even, so you'll want to definitely adjust those out for your final submission. Let's go ahead and zoom back in. And I think your hierarchy is pretty good, but there's something I really want to mention to you, and that's the use of center aligned type. Now, center aligned type, most professional designers stay away from it. I do at all costs. The only time I ever use center align type is for a wedding invitation or a super formal black tie invitation of some sort, something very formal. The reason we stay away from center alignment in typography is that it does nothing to activate the negative space. It creates symmetry around the negative space, and of course, as we know, symmetry is not usually the most interesting thing in terms of visual communication. So my recommendation from this point on to the end of the class is to stay away from center alignment. Now, if you want to use center alignment in your personal work, I mean, that's kind of up to you. But for this class and for the purposes of this class, I want you to stay away from center alignment from now till the last day of class. And you're going to see an improvement in your compositional layout. I guarantee I'm telling you the truth because just the mere, I'll explain some of the reasons why as we go through your critique here. So in the first composition, I think you've done a really great job. And what you've done here is if you just established hierarchy based on nothing but grouping. That's great. Good job. Then the second one, you've added a new weight and a new size with this 66,427. That's great, right? But you've introduced center alignment here. Now, that doesn't activate the negative space. It also doesn't engage the grid. Remember, in the course announcements, right here at the bottom, there's these. This is a really extensive. Am I in the wrong announcement? Okay. Oh, no, I wanted to show you this, how to use and design in a grid. And then here's more on the grid. And then here's more on the grid. And even more on the grid. And then we get down to the bottom of the page. We have how to set up the file, so you can take a look at that. But I really want you to understand the grid. And that's really what our primary function is this week, is understanding the grid. So theoretically, when you watch those videos on the grid, you're not employing the use of grid here because you're using a center alignment, which means all you're doing is centering everything, placing it in the center of the page, not abiding by any kind of grid, underlying grid structure. Okay, so I really want you to take a look at this. Get to know grid, all right? Get to know grid. It's probably, in my opinion, it is the most effective tool a designer can use. So I really want you guys to understand and use the grid. So you want to apply the grid to your last three compositions. Okay, this one successfully introduces one new size, one new weight. This third does introduce multiple contrasts in weight and scale. However, we've got some really strange alignment here. Okay, this is centered, this is centered, this is kind of left aligned, but it looks like it wants to be centered, but it's thrown over to the right, so it's creating these unusual saccadic movements. This is centered, but it's pushed over to the left. This is centered, and it's just kind of unusual in its composition. So again, stay away from center alignment. And one of the reasons as we see of center alignment is this. Take a look at this beautiful left line. We start with the headline. We can come over here and just come right down the line. Really enhances hierarchy. Over here, we've got all of these Look at these saccadic movements. Remember saccadic movements? We can do this. We can talk about saccadic movements in compositional layout as well as spacing and typography. So right now we're going like this. We got to jump in here, come over here, jump over here to the next line over here. So there's a lot of movements here. Then we come over here. And every time we come to the beginning of a line, it's a different area. So there's no regularity here. It's just not comfortable. Here, we come right over here. We know that this line right here is that left margin. So we come over here, done, boom, right back there, right back there. So follow the eye flow here. Whoops, what the heck happened there? Okay, follow the eye flow here. So the eye flow here goes here, comes down right down the line. Here we go boom, 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 boom. See, same thing here. Here, 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 here. See, instead of starting and then boom down the line. So try that. Okay, a little bit of a mistake in the fourth composition. In this one is, don't forget black and white. This is a black and white assignment. Where am I? I'm in an announcement. I don't want to be there. I want to be on the assignment page itself. But right over here, right, 5x5, black and white, shades of gray only, right? So don't forget, also, this card needs to be black and white. It also needs to be, it needs to bleed on two places. Bleed means it needs to go off the edge of the page. If you take a look at the announcement, you'll see the example. That's a bleed right there. See, it's bleeding off the page here and here. Bleed just simply means that the picture goes off the edge of the page. And here's a great example here too. So that's in the announcements as well. Another thing I want to draw your attention to is our amazing textbook. Page 101 in here gives a great example of how to establish hierarchy directly related to this assignment. And then also in the announcements. This example right here is hierarchy example. This Paul Rand layout starts like this, and as we can see, it just does a great job and ends like this. This is one of the better lessons I've seen on typography ever, on typographic hierarchy. So you definitely want to look at that. Okay, so at that point, those are my recommendations too. Oh, and in the fourth layout too, one of the things you kind of want to, if you're going to left align, this is okay that you're left aligning here and right aligning here, but that looks like it's pulled in a little bit. So if you're going to left align and right align, just make sure that it's very, very uniform. And again, try to stay away from, well, don't try, definitely stay away from center alignment on this fourth example. Okay, 101, page 101 in the book, the announcements, a ton of resources in there. Let's give it another go. I'm very confident that your final submission is going to be fantastic. Questions, comments, concerns, you want to run anything, but if you want to run anything by me between now and then, that's what I was trying to say. Have at it. Please feel free. I'll be glad to make any additional comments. But really fantastic job so far. And now, another thing I do want to recommend is that this is typographically, this is technically a widow. A widow is a word sitting on a line alone. We try to stay away from that at all costs in typography. That's a widow too there. So think about that. We'll get more into widows as we move through the class. But anyways, those are my comments and my recommendations. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you very much.